Welcome back, everyone. Here today, let's discuss some real events that were swept under the rug. From a missing girl who left behind a creepy drawing to a mother who vanished after a terrifying discovery, these mysteries will leave you speechless. Let us know in the comments if you can figure out what happened to these people. First, we have to look at this woman. This woman vanished after seeing this in the mirror. It all happened in 2013. A woman from South Carolina went by the name of Summer Wells. She was a 26-year-old resident of Simpsonville, but then one day she vanished without a trace. That was over a decade ago, and no one has seen her since. The case was never solved. But police say they do not believe that Summer is still alive today. They believe foul play was involved, but they never found her body or any other evidence. All they had were a few clues, including something very strange. Before she vanished, Summer had been staying at a home with some friends. At some point during the last week of April 2013, she left this house and no one saw her again. Her family became concerned because it was totally out of character for her to just disappear. When she didn't return home for several days, they reported her missing. Police immediately began searching the area, but found nothing. There were no signs of a struggle and no indication as to where Summer could have gone. A few weeks after she disappeared, police received an anonymous tip. This tip said that Summer had been seen entering a car with two men, one of whom was bald and the other had tattoos. But this was the only lead police ever received, and it led nowhere. Then police noticed something very strange. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Summer had taken a lot of selfies on Facebook. Most of these selfies seemed normal enough. But when police looked closer, they realized there was something strange about them. In most of the photos, Summer looked distressed and scared. She was also holding her phone in front of her face like she was trying to hide herself. And in one photo, she even drew a smiley face over her own face. Why? Well, police think she may have been trying to hide bruises. An investigation into Summer's life revealed that she had been in a physically abusive relationship for many years. But her ex-boyfriend denied having anything to do with her disappearance. Even more strangely, Summer had drawn a picture before she vanished. On April 28, 2013, she posted a drawing on Facebook. It showed a stick figure of herself being dragged off by another stick figure. The second stick figure had its arms wrapped around the first one, dragging it away. Both figures seemed to be walking into a dark cave. What did this drawing mean? Was it a cry for help? Was it a clue about what happened to her? Or was it simply a coincidence? Sadly, no one knows. Moving on, let's look at this next case. You won't believe what this man saw in the mirror. It all happened in December of 2020. A young boy from Brazil was getting ready for bed. He was just 9 years old at the time. As he was brushing his teeth, he walked over to the bathroom mirror. But he stopped dead in his tracks when he looked inside. Standing behind him was a creepy skeletal figure. He turned around, but no one was there. Shaken by what he had seen, the boy went to bed. But he was too scared to sleep. He called for his mother, who came into his room to comfort him. She told him that it was just a nightmare and that everything was fine. But later that night, she went into the kitchen and vanished. Yes, his mother simply disappeared. She was never seen again. The boy and his father searched the house, but there was no sign of her. They then called the police. But they, too, were unable to find her. The only conclusion they could come to was that she had somehow left the house and gone missing. But this made no sense. The front door and all the windows were locked. How could someone get in or out of the house? But then the boy remembered what he had seen in the mirror. Perhaps there was a secret passageway behind the mirror. The boy and his father tried pushing the mirror, but it wouldn't budge. So they pulled it off the wall, and that's when they made a horrifying discovery. Behind the mirror was a huge gaping hole. Someone had hollowed out the wall and created a secret passageway. But who would have done such a thing? And where had the mother gone? The police were baffled. They searched the house and the surrounding area, but they found no sign of the mother or anyone else. The only evidence that she had ever been there was her abandoned cell phone. To this day, no one knows what happened to her. Some believe she was abducted, while others believe she used the passageway to escape her life. Now let's look at this photo. You may think this is a scary clown, but this image is actually what this woman saw in the mirror. It all happened in 2017. A woman was getting ready for work. She decided to look at her reflection in the mirror. but when she did, she gasped. Staring back at her was a skeletal figure wearing a Victorian nightgown. The woman was horrified. She had seen similar figures before, but only in old paintings. The skeletal figure appeared once again, this time with a candle. Then it began to approach the woman. The woman ran out of the bathroom and hid under her bed, but then she heard a voice. It said there's no need to be afraid. And then the lights turned off. The woman stayed under the bed for hours until her children went to school, and she was alone in the house. Then she cautiously got out from under the bed and investigated. She walked back into the bathroom, but there was no sign of the skeletal lady. The woman then noticed something strange. Her reflection seemed distorted. She reached out to touch her reflection, but her hand went right through it. Confused, she continued investigating and eventually came across a floor-length mirror. Once again, she saw the skeletal figure. This time it was holding a comb. The woman tried speaking to her reflection, but her voice sounded strange. It almost sounded like it was coming from underneath the floorboards. Terrified, she fled the house and called the police. She explained everything to them, but they didn't believe her. They thought she was insane. No one had ever heard of a ghost that lived in a mirror before. And so the woman was forced to live in fear of her ghostly mirror stalker. She couldn't bring herself to look into mirrors, even those on doors. Finally, let's look at this disturbing picture. This haunting image was captured in a bathroom. But what makes it so creepy is what it didn't show. This bathroom was in a house in California. It was the bathroom where 48-year-old Cheryl Watts would spend a great deal of her time. But then one day she vanished. One morning, Cheryl's son went looking for his mother. He needed to tell her that he was going out for the day. But when he went into the bathroom, he found this photo on the floor. The photo had clearly been dropped, was covered in blood, and Cheryl was nowhere to be found. Her son immediately called the police, who arrived at the house. They searched everywhere for Cheryl, but she was nowhere to be found. Then they noticed something very strange. Inside the bathroom sink was a bloodied meat cleaver. It appeared as though Cheryl had washed her hands in cold water after using it. But where was she? Did she flee the house after killing her son? Or was she already dead? Well, police soon found out the truth. In the end, Cheryl had not fled. She had been murdered. Her son had killed her, and he had done so with the meat cleaver. He then took a photo to taunt her and make sure that the last thing she ever saw was her son killing her. But why did the son do such a thing? Well, according to him, his mother had been a strict and controlling parent. For many years, she had prevented him from getting married, and now she had set her sights on his new girlfriend. When he refused to break things off with her, Cheryl threatened to move to Florida and take his girlfriend's passport with her. Then on May 1998, Cheryl vanished. Now that you know what happened to her, do you think this case was truly solved? But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Comment below, which of these cases was the most shocking? If you want to see my short videos, then check out the Shorts channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed.
And if you haven't already, then what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel.